Let's take a look at setting up Stack and Pack. First, we're going to go to the Python menu, open Plugins folder. This will open a window where we can navigate and then copy the contents of the zip file into the plugins. Then we can go back to Painter and reload the plugins folder. We should see Stack and Pack load, some messages in the log, and a window show up. If not, we can go to Views and make sure it's checked. Since we don't have a project open, we see an error in the log, and the view is empty. Let's open an existing project. This is a clean project that's basically just a new, and we can see that there are some settings that are pulled in, loaded from the last time it was saved. We can adjust the default settings when creating a new project by changing the option, and we can reset that to see what that looks like. So here we're grouped by texture set. We could switch to grouping by UDIMs. We can reset. You can see that they're now grouped by UDIM. We can also unstack and unique stack. Here they're all on their own stacks. Or we can place them all in unused at the top. Here they're all unused. If I wanted to make a new stack, I can select and then stack the selected into a single stack. In this menu, we can control our naming per stack. We can also set our defaults when we create a new stack within the settings menu. We're going to have those items checked on or off by default whenever we make a new stack or when the project is initialized. So hit OK. See that our items haven't changed. We'll do a single stack, reset, and then you can see that those checkboxes align with our defaults. Our default Stack and Pack automatically runs when you export. You can turn that on and off via the settings menu. The masks it uses for each texture are controlled for the project by default the 2D view, but you can override that to the mask source menu. Since Stack and Pack runs automatically, turn it on and go to the export textures. The naming is determined based on your export preset, and the variables within that export preset can be controlled to the stack naming. So if we look at our list of exports, we can see what the text is going to be for each image. Stack and Pack will use that and your naming to remove the parts that you don't want to be part of the name, and then perform a common prefix or suffix on those names for each of the texture sets. So we can remove the project or UDIM based on the settings. Here's an example list of files. Since we've removed everything, we are just left with the channel name. If we wanted to change that, we could add in prefix that we want for each. Go to Export Textures, Export. Preset looks correct. We'll export, wait for it to finish, and then stack. It scoops up all the textures and names them. Click OK. And then back in our export folder, we can see that we now have the prefix added onto the channel name with the extraneous bits removed. Working with stacks is mostly drag and drop. You can select multiple, you can sort, you can reverse. There are a lot of right-click menu options. So you can drag and drop, reorder, select all, match the project order, create a new stack. We can move the separators to resize to make sure their list fits. You can select, drag and drop to a new stack. You can change the names for each one. So this is now our body. This is the rest buttons. You can right-click within a stack to clear, remove items, move those to unused. Delete a stack, clear it, delete it, add a new one, move those items back in. We can delete our empty stacks. Again, we can resize. Stack by UDIM. It'll just stack those selected items. Again, we can move and reorder between the different stacks. Remove all the empty ones. Resize, and we continue dragging. We can collapse them down. We'll do a reset. We can control whether we want Stack and Pack to actually stack these textures when we export. One fairly common scenario is needing to update the names of your textures. We can use refresh to pull those names back in. So if we wanted to change body to the body main, we can update the name. The name hasn't updated yet, but we can refresh and we can see that it's now reflected in Stack and Pack. If we undo and change the name back, again, we can just refresh and we can see that our stack is updated. Within the project settings are other useful items. If you want to send more information to the log, you can use verbose output. You can also determine whether you want to abort if you find any issues during exporting. Here, looking at verbose, we can see more of what the plugin is doing behind the scenes, which is useful for troubleshooting. We'll turn verbose back off, keep our log clean.